So my next Year 4 to Year 5 interview is with Minister for Health and also Douglas North MHK, David Ashford. We do a 20-minute allocation there. I don't know where to start really, but we will do another interview about other things that are going on. But I have asked people about the COVID thing, so I should really try to keep to that thing. I mean, you've had an exceptionally busy time. You've also seemed to have got the public support massively, and it goes on, I know, but can you give an outline just generally, I mean, without too much, but where we're up to? You're happy with what's going on? Is that in the right way of
Yeah, I
phrasing
am
it?
happy with the response so far. The Manx public has responded absolutely amazingly to the messages that were put out, and it's thanks to them that we're in the position we're in today. If anyone had said to me at the start of the pandemic that come September we would be in this position, to be quite frank, I probably would have laughed at them. But it is the great response from the Manx public and the way they really knuckled down and took on board what was being said that we've been able to fight this pandemic as well as we have.
And all the interviews I've done so far with other MHKs have almost really all got behind the government, which is unheard of almost, to have everyone singing from the same hymn sheet. You must be quite pleased that there has been unity there.
Well, we've tried wherever possible to engage with members of Tynwald across the board. At sometimes that's been very hard to do because things have been so fast moving. But I think members of Tynwald across the board have handled this exceptionally well, and they've seen where the problems have been and they've got on board to try and help.
Okay, well, the other interview, I think will be out before this one, so we'll deal with it in much more detail after that. So let's get into you. I've been through your manifesto. Very interesting reading, in a sense.
A very good read, Paul.
Well, I mean, you went in there just as the new boy sort of thing, and you got this promotion, and before you know it, you're in the inner circle. When you look back at yourself on that manifesto, how do you feel it's going?
Well, an awful lot of the manifesto has actually happened. One of the big points I made was around the steam packet company and the fact that we needed to ensure our lifeline to the island. My manifesto said that I would fight for government effectively to have the golden share in the steam packet company to secure that lifeline. That has happened. In relation to health, pointedly, I put in the manifesto around the fact that the health service needed a top-down review. Mm-hmm. We've got that with Sir Jonathan Michael, and there's various other bits through the manifesto as well. But 80% of the manifesto, I think, has been delivered.
Sorry, back to the transport thing, because Open Skies was in there, which is interesting as we speak of this great idea to have some sort of island airline or a linking with Guernsey or whatever. And you did come up with that. Well, it's in your manifesto that things like the London City was a problem, and you were quite happy to have that given to one operator on a 5-year lease, for instance.
Yeah, on a personal level, I've always been quite clear that I believe the future, and it was in my manifesto in 2016, is a mix of open skies and closed skies. Mm-hmm. So you have the key economic routes, the key lifeline routes for the island that are put out on contract, and then open skies for any other routes that airlines wish to run.
You're in a position, though, surely, having such an amount of money that's been spent going to Liverpool, to immediately sort that one out. Or is it actually that how it is? Because I know you have a contract with an airline on it. It has changed airlines, but is that almost like how you see it then, having this sort of agreement in place?
Well, obviously, what you're referring to is at the moment we've got the patient transfer contract, which is a large volume with health. That's separate.
Huge, it's millions, isn't it?
The way I see it is, I see it actually being routes being farmed out. So the Isle of Man controls says if you are going to run a flight to Liverpool, it's closed to that one airline. Because one of the things I think we've seen in the past is what happens is on the money-making routes, all sorts of airlines want to come in and want to get involved in that route. And what that does then is it dissipates the passenger numbers across all the different airlines, and it doesn't make the route that profitable. It's very, very tight margins. The one thing I don't support is, I know some of my colleagues have been going on about, is the Isle of Man owning its own airline.
That's my next question.
I think it's best left to the private sector to run the aircraft. That can swallow money very, very quickly.
Arini, I mean, you've looked at that model, have you?
Yes, I have indeed. And I worry that we would be exposing the taxpayer to not just £1 million here or there, but multi-million pounds, if not the tens of £1 million worth of liability.
Okay. Getting power back from the executive to members was in there as well. How do you think that one's looking?
It was, and if you go back on my voting record, when again we had the Lisvane report which looked at this, I was quite clear. My views as a parliamentarian have not changed in that regard. I believe that, for instance, I wanted the Lord Bishop's vote removed. I said that the Lord Bishop, I felt, had a role on Legislative Council. So I would be quite happy with him retaining his seat.
So you want the MLCs to be publicly elected?
And I want some form of public election for MLC.
Still?
Yes.
Okay, now this one is about the Council of Ministers and collective responsibility. You were against that back then, were you not? When you
I
wrote
was.
That? Now you're in the tent.
Well, I still feel there's some flaws in collective responsibility. One of the things I actually said in the manifesto, if you remember, I said within departments there should be collective responsibility once something's agreed. And I still believe that once someone has agreed to something, they should then support it, not then backtrack on the floor of Tynwald. But one of the things the Chief Minister, or current Chief Minister, did do when he came into office, which of course was after my manifesto, he did actually change the collective responsibility. So if you're as a member of Council of Ministers, it's a constituency matter or even a manifesto matter, and we've just quoted several things from my manifesto, then basically the member is free to actually express their views separately.
You seem very relaxed. You're happy that really 80% you said has gone your way as far as what you put down?
On my last count, it's getting there. It's just past the 80% mark and my manifesto has been delivered.
Who did you vote for Chief Minister?
Well, I proposed Howard Quayle, so I think it's pretty clear.
Sure. Okay, so
and also, this was also the first Chief Minister's vote where it was a public vote.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a secret ballot, so it's there in the Hansard if anyone wants to go back
so
and actually record.
You're having a jolly time. I mean, I can't even believe I'm saying those words. But you've had a busy time. But on a very serious note, this last year, can we park the COVID to one side? Were the other things that highlighted that you have done, you're happy with or not happy with?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, from a health and social care point of view, it's been rather frustrating this year because everything had to be paused to do the COVID response. So we have had things slow down, such as healthcare transformation. The rollout of the glucose monitors, for instance, has now been postponed to next month, or the end of this month, start of next month, because of that. So there is certain things, and the development of the PPU. So there's certain things that haven't gone as fast as I would have liked this year, but obviously it's understandable with what's gone on with COVID.
How's it pull your time being head of health when you also Douglas North MHK? Is it a tricky one, this? Because it seems like you must have such an inbox with national politics when, Douglas North people don't have as much time with you, or not. I mean, I know you work long hours. I'm doing all talking here. Go on, you pick up on this.
I mean, it can be, it can be a frustration for me because I'm very much like to be a constituency member. I very much like to try and deal with problems for constituents up in Douglas North, and it can be a pull on time. You've got to get that balance between being a minister and also remaining a constituency member. And I'll be perfectly blunt, on some occasions I haven't been able to dig down into the constituency stuff quite as much as I want. We work very well together, me and Ralph. I think we're a very good team. We share information, we work together on issues, and where something comes up across the constituency, we try wherever possible to drive things forward together.
Let's drill down into in this first section about your work ethic, which everyone is, there's no question that you got it, but you put in hours. I can't believe if I'm hearing right. Do you ever sleep, for instance?
I've always been quite lucky in the fact I don't sleep very much.
Is that true,
that's always been the case since I was a child.
Oh, right.
You only have to ask my mother, I think, about that. I think I used to probably drive her mad as a kid. So I do. I'm not a Margaret Thatcher sort of person where it's only 3 or 4 hours. Normally 5 or 6 hours a night is normally mine. So people will get emails off me at very strange times, sometimes 1 a.m.
Your attention to detail is quite amazing because you seem to have an answer for everything, and that's not being nasty in that sense. Because I've done it myself. I've asked you questions. I think, well, that might just throw you off. Not in the sense of you know the answer. You might have to go back and find it. But you seem to always have these figures in your head. You've got a very mathematical brain, I'm guessing.
Well, my background is sort of project management, so I'm very used to having to have figures in my head and be able to reel them off. But I can assure you, it's not just something that happens naturally. There's a lot of preparation that goes in behind the scenes. In fact, I think you've commented before, Paul, with the COVID press briefings where I've got the pack with me, where I try, sometimes I've been successful and sometimes I haven't, to have guessed where you guys might go with the questions and to try and have something that's topical there.
But even in Tynwald, you've been asked some left field questions in my view, and you seem to come out, again, you may have your pack there, but some people fail that miserably. They always have to go back and write you a little letter later on. Is that what makes you such what you do? You obviously thrive on it, almost, would I say. Is that right? You thrive on doing this job?
I do. I enjoy health and social care very much. In fact, I find it a great privilege to be Minister for Health and Social Care. We've got exceptionally hard-working staff across the department, and this year, if anything, has shown that right to the fore.
But some disappointments there
with pride.
Some things like the cancer care and that sort of things all have hit problems because of what we've been under. That must be a worry, though, isn't it?
They have, but problems are there to be fixed, is the view I always come from. I don't come from the pessimistic point of view of there's a problem, oh my goodness. I come from the point of view is there's a problem, let's try and fix it. I'm always perfectly honest with people. As I've said with waiting lists, if I had a magic wand and I could wave it, yes, we'd clear down the waiting list. Some of these things, even when we're trying to fix a problem, can take substantial amounts of time to do.